how the people of Brazil have passionately embraced the challenges we all face to protect our natural world. When I founded the
What if the most unshakable royal isn't unshakable at all? Just quiet about the weight he's carrying? Because for years, Prince William has been sold to the public as the steady one, the calm face, the reliable future, the guy who keeps the whole machine running when everything else gets messy. But here's the part people don't talk about enough: when everyone counts on you to be the strong one. You don't get to collapse in public, even when life is hitting you from every angle. And the last 2 years, they weren't just busy. They were the kind of pressure cooker season that can change a person for good for a long time. William's image has been almost too perfect to question. He shows up, shakes hands, says the right thing, keeps the tone respectful, and moves on. No dramatic outbursts. No chaotic headlines every week. Compared to the louder royal drama, he's felt like the calm center of the storm. And that's exactly why he became so important to the monarchy's story. When the institution looks shaky, you don't want the future king looking shaky too. You want him to look like he's built from steel. The problem is, steel still bends under heat. You just don't see it until it's already happened. Because the truth is, the last stretch didn't just test the royal family. It tested William personally in a way the public only got small glimpses of. It started when Catherine, Princess of Wales, stepped out of public view for medical reasons, and the family's normal life got replaced by hospital schedules, anxious waiting, and the kind of private conversations that changed the atmosphere in a home. William still had to be Prince William in public, but privately, he was also a husband trying to keep his family steady, and a dad trying to make sure 3 kids didn't feel like the ground beneath them was shifting. And then when Catherine later revealed her cancer diagnosis, the stakes became even heavier. Reuters hears what makes that period so intense. The world doesn't stop because your family is in a crisis. The cameras don't pause. The expectations don't soften. Even when William did step back from some appearances, he was still expected to represent stability while living through a chapter that would break a lot of people. This wasn't just a tough month. It was a long stretch where the public saw carefully selected moments, and the private reality stayed private. And just when the world was trying to process Kate's situation, another massive shock landed: King Charles's cancer diagnosis. That's not just emotional news. In royal terms, it's structural. The monarchy isn't a regular family business where someone can simply cover your shift. It's a system built on visibility. If the king reduces public duties, the pressure doesn't vanish. It spreads. And one of the first places it spreads is the heir. So now picture the stack: a wife facing serious treatment, children needing reassurance, and the monarch dealing with his own health fight. At the same time, the royal family has been operating with a smaller group of senior working royals than in past decades. That matters more than people realize, because the fewer front-facing royals you have, the more the spotlight stays locked on the same people again and again and again. And that turns duty into something closer to endurance sport. This is where the public often misses the real story, because William doesn't look chaotic. He doesn't give dramatic interviews every week. He doesn't post emotional late-night messages. He does what he was trained to do: show up, keep it together, and keep moving. Which is why one of the biggest clues came from something he said out loud, something unusually blunt for him. In late 2024, William described the year as brutal, calling it the hardest year of his life. People.com, that's not normal royal language. That's not "we're carrying on" language. That's a real person in real time admitting the pressure got to him. And then there's the quieter clue: the numbers. In 2025, reports based on the court circular showed William's engagement count sitting far lower than some other working royals, while others, especially Charles and Anne, racked up huge totals. New York Post now: that doesn't automatically mean crisis. It can also mean a deliberate strategy. Protect family time. Be selective. Stop doing endless ribbon cuttings just to fill a calendar. But it does reinforce one big reality: the Wales household has been operating differently. And once people notice a pattern, the internet does what it always does, fills in the blanks with theories. This is where the rumor machine kicks into high gear. Because when official statements are brief, when they talk about prioritizing family or adjusting schedules without details, some corners of the media and social platforms treat that silence like an invitation. Suddenly you start seeing confident posts that sound official, but aren't. You'll see claims about secret meetings, dramatic interventions, and palace sources describing private breakdowns. And here's the key thing. A lot of that spreads because it feels believable. It's not because it's proven. So let's be clear. There's a difference between confirmed reporting and online buzz. Confirmed reporting tells us the family faced a brutal year, that Kate and Charles dealt with cancer, and that William publicly acknowledged how hard it was. Reuters plus 2people.com plus 2 online buzz, on the other hand, often takes those facts and turns them into a dramatic storyline with precise timestamps and palace statements that don't show up in major credible outlets. Rumors suggest all kinds of behind-the-scenes drama. Some of it might be exaggerated, and some of it might be pure invention designed for clicks. The emotional tone is the hook. The certainty is the trick. But even if you strip away every unverified claim, the bigger question remains: how do you stay the stable one? When stability is the one thing your life can't offer you for months at a time? And this is where William's public direction gets interesting. Because while his private world was under pressure, his public messaging has been hinting at something else, that he wants to do the job differently. In 2025, he gave a rare interview vibe talking about change being on his agenda. Not radical upheaval, but changes he thinks need to happen. Ashark Alasa. That matters because it suggests he isn't just trying to copy-paste the old model. He's trying to modernize, streamline, focus. And when you combine that with fewer engagements and a heavier family year, it's easy to see why people start asking, is he pulling back because he has to? Or because he wants a different blueprint? Then there's the global stage. While the royal family often looks like it's only about ceremonies, they also play a role in soft diplomacies around big international issues like climate. You've seen William appear alongside Charles for climate-related moments. And the COP30 conversation centered in Belém, Brazil, has been part of that wider narrative. Online Brazil, in particular, isn't just a random location. It's symbolic. It's tied to the Amazon, conservation, global climate commitments, and the kind of future-focused image William tends to lean into. So when climate diplomacy is on the agenda, it becomes another pressure point. He's not just showing up as a prince. He's being read as the future of the institution, and that loops us back to the uncomfortable truth. The monarchy doesn't just need William. It markets William. He's the long-term bet, the figure people are supposed to trust when everything feels uncertain. So when he looks tired, when his schedule shifts, when the family closes ranks, it doesn't just feel like a man protecting his family. It triggers a bigger panic in the public imagination. If the future king slows down, what does that mean for the whole system? What happens is predictable. Half the public responds with empathy because most people know what it's like to hit your limit. They recognize that even with privilege, pressure can still wreck you. They see a husband protecting his wife, a dad protecting his kids, a human being trying not to fall apart. The other half responds with suspicion or fear. Because the monarchy runs on the illusion of permanence. The crown is supposed to be bigger than the person wearing it. It's supposed to be stable no matter what is happening behind palace walls. That's the promise. So when health crises collide and multiple key figures have to adjust, it becomes harder to sell the idea that everything is as normal. And yet, there's another way to read all of this. What if William stepping back from more isn't a collapse at all? What if it's evolution? A modern approach where the job isn't measured by how many events you can survive, but by what you prioritize when life gets real. We've already seen hints of that in how the Waleses choose appearances, how they guard their children's privacy, and how blunt William has been by royal standards about the toll of the last year. And here's the part that sticks with people. Even if they don't say it out loud, the strongest looking people are often the ones carrying the most in silence. William grew up in front of cameras. He learned early that emotion becomes a headline. So he does what he was trained to do: keep it controlled, keep it moving, keep it dignified. But control isn't the same as peace. A polished smile doesn't mean the weight isn't crushing. So if you're wondering why the William is struggling, narrative spreads so fast. It's because it taps into something that feels true even when the details aren't proven. That the last couple of years have been relentless. That the public saw only the surface. And that behind the scenes, the future king has been navigating the kind of personal stress that would make anyone's world feel unsteady. And maybe the biggest takeaway isn't even about royal drama. It's about what it costs to be the reliable one, the one everyone depends on, the one who is never allowed to pause because pausing looks like weakness. William's story, at least the confirmed parts of it, shows how dangerous that expectation can be. Because if you never slow down, life eventually slows you down for you. So here's the question I want to leave you with. What if the real test of a future king isn't never bending under pressure, but knowing exactly when to bend so you don't break? Because the crown doesn't just demand duty. It demands endurance. And in an era where people are finally talking about burnout and mental health like it's real, not shameful, maybe the monarchy's next chapter won't be defined by who looks strongest, but by who's brave enough to be honest about the cost if you want. I can take your competitor transcript style even tighter, more punchy, more cliffhanger transitions, and a stronger pattern interrupt. Every 20 to 30 seconds while keeping everything framed as verified fact. Fees, unverified buzz. And here's where the story twists. Because the moment William admitted, even indirectly, that the last year hit him hard, the entire conversation stopped being about one man and started being about the system around him. For decades, the royal formula has been simple. Never show strain. Never show cracks. Never give the public a reason to think the machine can stall. That's why even the smallest shift in William's schedule gets treated like a seismic event. Not because people expect him to be superhuman, but because the monarchy has trained people to need him to look superhuman. And when that illusion slips, even for a second, the panic isn't just gossip. It's fear of instability. Look at how fast the narrative split the second the pressure became visible. One side went straight to empathy. Let the man breathe. He's a husband and a father first. Anyone would be overwhelmed. The other side went colder. If he can't handle it now, what happens later? Is the monarchy too fragile? And that second voice? It's the one palace strategists fear the most, because it turns personal hardship into a referendum on the future. But what most people miss is this. William isn't the only one being tested. The public is being tested too, because it's easy to support mental health and balance in theory, until a major public figure actually chooses it and the world feels entitled to demand details. And that's where things get ugly fast. The questions aren't just, is he okay? They become, what exactly is wrong? How bad is it? How long? Like the public is owed a full report, and that's why this silence matters. When royals don't spell out every detail, it's not always hiding. Sometimes it's boundaries. And boundaries are exactly what modern audiences struggle with, especially online, where speculation gets rewarded like it's a sport. Now here comes the part that makes this even messier. William isn't just managing personal stress. He's managing a brand, a global one. The Prince of Wales' role isn't only smiles and ceremonies. It's diplomacy, symbolism, and proof that the monarchy still has a purpose in a world that keeps asking, why do we need this? That's why issues like climate have become such a big deal for him. Climate isn't a safe, fluffy topic anymore. It's political, emotional, and deeply tied to global power. And when you bring up places like Brazil, especially when conversations turn to the Amazon, you're not just talking about trees. You're talking about livelihoods, international pressure, and whether anyone in power is willing to push beyond speeches, So when William leans into big future-facing themes, it's doing more than charity work. He's carving a lane for what his reign might look like one day. Less pageantry, more impact. Less tradition for tradition's sake, more why does this matter? And that's where the tension builds, because trying to modernize an ancient system is exhausting even in a calm year. Doing it while your family is dealing with health scares is next level. Brutal. And that's the real reason so many viewers feel like they're watching two Williams at once. There's the public William polished, measured.com. Then there's the other William people sense is there. The one who's constantly calculating how to keep his family safe while keeping the institution stable. The one who can't afford to be messy. The one who can't just take a break without it turning into headlines. Here's what makes this story so sticky. It has no clean villain. There's no obvious bad guy who caused this. The pressure comes from everywhere: duty, expectation, family crisis, public scrutiny, the never-ending commentary. It's like being trapped in a room where the walls inch closer every day. And everyone outside the room is arguing about whether you're handling it well. And that's exactly why online rumors explode. Because when reality is complicated, the internet tries to make it simple. It wants a secret meeting, a dramatic turning point, a single moment where everything changed. It wants one shocking line that explains it all. But real life doesn't work like that. Real life is a slow burn. 1,000 small stressors piling up until one day you realize you're not sleeping the same. You're not laughing the same. You're not even thinking the same now. Some commentators have suggested that this is the monarchy's biggest problem. They don't build in room for people to be human. They build the job like the person wearing it is a symbol, not a living person with limits. And that's fine. Until illness, grief, or burnout shows up. Then the system has two choices: adapt or crack. And what's wild is that adaptation is already happening quietly. Fewer appearances, more selective engagements, more emphasis on projects rather than endless events, more control over what gets shared and what doesn't. It's subtle, but it's there. The old model was show up everywhere. The new model is show up where it matters. And that shift scares traditionalists because they think visibility equals strength. But in 2025, strength might mean something different. Restraint. Because if William is serious about being a modern future king, he can't lead like it's 1995. He can't pretend the pressure doesn't exist. He can't act like the public's demands are always reasonable. The world has changed, the media has changed, and the pace of outrage has changed. And if the monarchy doesn't change with it, it won't be the crown that breaks first. It'll be the people inside it. So what happens next? Option 1. William powers through, returns to a packed schedule, and the public gets the comforting illusion back. But illusions are expensive and the bill always comes due. Option 2. He sticks to the newer approach. More boundaries, more selectivity, more protection for his family. And if that happens, you're going to see two reactions again. Supporters will call it healthy. Critics will call it weak, and the palace will keep walking that tightrope with no safety net. Either way, the takeaway is the same. We're watching the monarchy collide with modern reality in real time. And that's why this story isn't just about William. It's about what the public expects from public figures, and what it costs when we expect them to be flawless. Because when someone trained to never show strain finally admits the year was brutal, it's not just a headline. It's a warning sign. Not that he's finished, but that he's human. And if the future of the monarchy depends on one man being unbreakable, then maybe the real problem isn't whether William can handle the job. It's whether the job was ever designed to be handled the way it's been handled for centuries. And the next time you see him step out with that calm smile, the question won't be, is he doing fine? It'll be, what did he have to sacrifice to look fine? Because the strongest people don't always shout when they're